You open your eyes in the morning, and half the bed is no longer yours. Your pillow is gone, half the blanket is on the floor, and your dog is stretched out right in the middle, as if the bed belongs to them. This isn't just a feeling. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic actually tested this. Science says sleeping with your dog lowers your sleep quality. The data is clear. But before you react to that, here's the thing. In that same study, almost every single participant said they felt safer, more rested, better. How can both of those things be true at the same time? The answer is much deeper than you'd think. But before we go further, let's clear up the biggest misconception. Is the reason your dog sleeps with you really just warmth? It sounds reasonable. The dog gets cold, you're warm, problem solved. But stop and think about this for a second. There are warm spots in your home. There's a radiator, there's a couch, there are soft things to lie on. They have options. If all they wanted was to warm up, they don't have to choose you. So why do they insist on choosing you every single night? That's the real question. Because sleeping means being completely vulnerable for an animal. Zero control. Thousands of years of instinct tell your dog one thing: protect yourself, hide, stay safe. And instead, they walk past every quiet corner in your home and settle in next to a human 15 times their size. This has nothing to do with warmth. This is pure trust. The first reason: you are the safest place in their world. The same attachment test psychologists use with infants was applied to dogs. And the result? The bond dogs form with their owners is nearly identical to the bond a baby forms with its mother. The same proximity seeking, the same stress when separated, the same calm when reunited. 61% of the dogs tested showed secure attachment, and that number is almost exactly the same as what you find in human children. When your dog chooses to sleep beside you, they're carrying out the most fundamental behavior in attachment psychology, seeking closeness to their safe person at their most vulnerable moment. This isn't dependency. What they're actually telling you is this: you are the safest place in their world. The second reason: this isn't just something you feel, it's biological. In 2015, a team of researchers at Azabu University in Japan published a study in Science, one of the most prestigious scientific journals on the planet, and the results were remarkable. The researchers measured oxytocin levels in dogs and their owners. Oxytocin is the neurochemical your brain releases when you feel bonded to someone, the same molecule that floods a mother's brain the first time she holds her newborn. And what they found was truly extraordinary. When a dog looks at their owner and the owner looks back, both of them experience a surge in oxytocin at the same time. Between two different species, the dog's oxytocin rises, the owner's oxytocin rises, which makes the dog want to look more, which releases more oxytocin, which makes the owner feel more bonded. This is a loop, and no other animal shares this loop with humans. The researchers tested the same interaction with wolves raised by humans. The loop never activated. This bond co-evolved over thousands of years, and physical contact amplifies it. Researchers found that just 10 minutes of petting your dog produces measurable drops in cortisol, your stress hormone, in both of you. Now think about what 8 hours of sleeping pressed together might do. The third reason: this is a 15,000-year-old choice. But here's a question nobody thinks to ask. When did dogs and humans start sleeping side by side? The answer is simple. From the very beginning, dogs are the only animal domesticated before agriculture, before farming, before cities, before writing. 15,000 years ago, wolves began approaching human camps. The friendliest wolves, the ones least likely to flee, survived better. They passed those traits on to the next generation. Generations later, they weren't wolves anymore. In Germany, archaeologists found a burial site dated to 14,000 years ago. 2 humans interred together and 2 dogs beside them. But the detail that changes everything is this: one of the dogs had survived severe canine distemper, a disease that kills within 3 months. The dog had been in intensive care for over 5 weeks. Someone had nursed that dog through its illness 14,000 years ago. They weren't just animals, they were family. And this is a deliberate process. Genetic research shows that dogs carry genes that predispose them to forming closeness with humans. This trait isn't found in wolves. Dogs were literally shaped at a genetic level to be near us, to sleep near us, to bond with us. When your dog climbs into bed, they're not doing something unusual. They're continuing a behavior that has been repeating for thousands of years, and they're choosing you. If you're starting to see a little more clearly what your dog is actually telling you, subscribe, because this channel is for people who don't just love their dogs, but want to truly understand them. The fourth reason. Science says it's bad. You feel good. How does that work? Now let's go back to that study nobody talks about. Mayo Clinic researchers used clinical-grade sleep trackers to measure the sleep quality of 40 adults and their dogs over 7 nights. The result was clear. Dogs disrupted sleep, shifting, repositioning, and sometimes that kick at 3 in the morning. So the data was pretty bad, and yet almost every single participant reported feeling more comfortable, safer, and more rested when their dog was in the room. How can both of those things be true at the same time? One study found that dogs were rated as better bed partners than humans, calmer, more predictable. Follow-up studies found the reason for this contradiction. Owners were briefly waking up every time the dog moved, but almost none of them remembered it in the morning. The sleep was being disrupted, but the feeling of safety was overriding it. And this is where it gets deep, because the psychological benefit of sleeping beside a trusted companion, of having a warm breathing presence that your nervous system recognizes as safe, might matter more than uninterrupted darkness and silence. Humans slept together throughout history. Sleeping alone isn't natural, it's modern. Maybe your dog isn't ruining your sleep. Maybe they're reactivating something your nervous system has forgotten, the feeling of sleeping safely. The fifth reason. You and your dog are running on the same frequency through the night. A 2024 study from the University of Jyväskylä in Finland monitored the heart rate variability of 30 dog owner pairs across 6 different conditions. Heart rate variability is one of the best measures of how well your autonomic nervous system is functioning. High variability means you're relaxed and regulated. Low variability means your stress response is activated. And what they found was this. Across every condition measured, dogs and their owners showed correlated patterns. Their nervous systems were in sync. When you were calm, your dog calmed down. When you tensed up, they tensed up too. And the synchronization was strongest during rest. They tested the same thing with dogs and unfamiliar humans. No synchronization at all. This only happens in bonded pairs. What this means is that sleeping beside your dog isn't just a psychological comfort. It's a neurological event. 2 separate nervous systems from 2 different species co-regulating each other through the night. The 6th reason. If they stop one day, pay attention. There's one last thing I need to tell you, and it might be the most important part of this video. If your dog has been sleeping beside you for months or years, and one day they stop, don't brush it off. Dogs live by habit, and a behavior like this doesn't change overnight. Sometimes it's environmental. A new pet, a new person in the house, a shift in your schedule. Dogs are exquisitely sensitive to changes in their territory. Something that feels minor to you can feel enormous to them. But sometimes it's physical. Veterinary researchers have found that changes in sleep location are one of the earliest behavioral signs of pain, appearing before limping, stiffness, or any obvious physical symptom. A dog that stops jumping onto the bed may not have suddenly decided they prefer the floor. They might be hurting. And in older dogs, disrupted sleep patterns are the hallmark symptom of canine cognitive dysfunction, the dog equivalent of dementia. It affects an estimated 35% of dogs over 8 years old. So if the nightly ritual changes, pay attention. Your dog can't speak. Behavior is the only way they can tell you something is wrong, and you are learning to read it. The 7th reason. You are their ritual. Dogs don't just form habits. They form rituals. Everything that repeats during the day, the same time, the same place, the same person, becomes a stability anchor for the nervous system. And over time, you stop being a behavior for your dog. You become a ritual. Sleeping beside you at night isn't just about closeness. It's the closing signal of the day. Everything is okay. Today is done. I'm safe. Research shows that repeated social interactions lower stress levels in dogs and increase their sense of predictability. So when your dog sleeps beside you, they're not just being near you, they're completing the day. That's why some dogs won't get into bed before you do, won't get up before you do, because the ritual is you. And when a ritual is disrupted, the nervous system notices. When you open your eyes at 3 in the morning, pillow gone, blanket halfway on the floor, a big dog pressed against you and pushed you to the edge of the mattress, remember what's actually happening. This isn't a coincidence. Your dog chose you, not the couch, not the floor, not that warm spot by the radiator. Unreal, because thousands of years of evolution, the neurochemical bond you share, and an instinctive trust system all converge at one point. You are the safest place in their world. And maybe what's even more interesting is this. Science says it's doing something for you too. So when they press against you at night, they're not just sleeping, they're regulating you, calming you, bonding with you. For a dog, there is no bigger choice than that. Now I have a question for you. Where does your dog sleep? Right beside you? At your feet? Or do they watch you from a distance? Write it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to understand why your dog wants to be so close to you, why they lick you, and what they're actually trying to say in those moments, click on the video on screen, because the real reason isn't what you think.